Shri SSV Ramakumar, Director R&D IOCL. Okay. Shri Pankaj Kumar Goswami, Director OIL. Volunteers. Mr. Aditya Kumar Sinha, Director CDEC Patna. Mr. Anshul Gupta, General Manager, Northeast Frontier Railways. Now I would like to request our session coordinator, Professor Priyanku Sharma, Professor of Linguistics, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, and also our co-coordinator, Mr. A. Wangshai Sinrit, Assistant Registrar, Academic Affairs, IIT Guwahati, to kindly felicitate our guest with a Fulam Gamusa and memento. Sir, please.
Distinguished guests and the distinguished audience. We have a panel here which does not need any introduction. We have Professor Sahasrabuddhe, who is a former, actually current also, professor of IIT Guwahati, and current AICTE chairman. We have Dr. Arup Kumar Mishra, Chairman, Pollution Control Board of Assam. We have Pankaj Kumar Goswami, who is the Director of Operations of Oil India Limited. Anshul Gupta, who is the General Manager, Northeast Frontier Railway. And we have Aditya Kumar Sinha, who is Director of CDEC Patna in this particular session. So the chairperson for this session is Professor Sahasrabuddhe, and without further ado, may I request Professor Sahasrabuddhe to start the proceedings of this particular session.
Thank you very much, Priyanku Sharma. This session was supposed to be chaired by me at around 3:34. It is already delayed by substantial time. And since I have a flight to catch, so I will hand over the charge of being chairing to Dr. Arup, Arup Mishra. But anyway, I will start off, but he will end it. That's how we will manage the show. We have Dr. Aditya Sinha, Dr. Pankaj Goswami, Dr. Gupta, and all others in the audience, also many people. The idea of today's whole session of Northeast Regional Conclave is to gear up, charge up the entire Northeast, all the educational institutions, in order to start the culture of research, culture of innovation, and set goals for the future. So what are those goals? And if you look at the two persons who spoke in the morning, especially the Chief Minister of Assam as well as the Honorable Education Minister, we have got contours of what is required to be done. In terms of medical research, there is already an MOU signed between IIT Guwahati and a new body which is created. But there are many other areas where resources of the Northeast will have to be used very effectively in order to create future livelihood of the people of the Northeast, as well as of that of the country and the world at large. And that is where the challenges do exist. And we must have a strategic plan, a roadmap to be developed in line with the new national education policy, which talks about research, innovation, Indian knowledge systems, using our resources for the betterment of the people, the lives of the people. All of that embedded, we must have a clear roadmap. Maybe in the next 2 years or 3 years, we will have so many research publications, so many patents. But more important than those research papers and publications, how many of them will be converted into technologies which are transferred? And that is most important, because many a times research PhD thesis, the research publications remain in the almirah. There's no point in having such research. It should be translational research which is useful for the people. Now, what are the resources available? We all talked in the morning about the resources like oil from the Digboy, tea, forest resources. Today we have lots of horticulture products. These are all well known. But how do we transgress from what exists already, and how do we move forward in terms of newer things which are happening all across the world in terms of technology, in terms of our living? Take, for example, transportation. There are different types of electric vehicles which have come in, and therefore there is a challenge of storage of power in the form of battery. There are new technologies which are emerging for both charging of batteries, longevity of the battery life. Why can't we also start doing research in that area? Why should it happen in Pune or Mumbai or Chennai? It should also possibly be done. But of course, we should not forget about our core strengths in terms of whether it is high quality tea being produced, the oil which is to be refined and creating new products out of the entire distillation process, but also in terms of all forest products which are possibly natural resources, make use of them, or the mineral resources which are available to be made use of, will go on one side. But the newer technologies like AI, IoT, machine learning, deep learning, robotics, drones, cybersecurity, these are also domain-specific areas which not only technical institutions, but with help of organizations like CDAC here, organizations like Oil India Limited, why can't we not just depend on oil, but new of energy, solar in terms of wind energy, all of those have to be explored, because we can't depend only on the oil. Oil is going to be there for next maybe 4 decades, 5 decades, we do not know. Both in the Arab world as well as in any part of the world, the kind of utilization that we are doing, it will last for 4 to 5 decades. So new sources of energy have to be innovatively brought in, which are competitive. Otherwise, if it is not competitive, people will not be able to use it. That was the case in the case of solar energy. For a long time, people were not able to afford it because it was very expensive vis-a-vis the other electricity which we are getting. Today, it has almost leveled. Maybe sometime later, it will be cheaper than the other source of energy. So I think we may have to develop technologies from out of silica, creation of solar cells itself, to storage of energy, during evening, night. There have been very interesting projects which people are talking about. Solar energy otherwise is available only when the sun shines, that is in the daytime, and there is a problem in the evening. People are making use of the solar energy with the help of the energy developed to lift water, store it, and then run tidal power in the evening and then make use of that same energy later in the evening or night for running of the show. So there are very interesting proposals which have come in, which look like very out-of-the-box ideas. And these are all possible when we have our college students, university students, institutes of like IITs, NITs, give them an interesting, challenging problem statement and ask them to give solution to that. And that is what we started doing through AICT and the Ministry of Education about 4 years back, called Smart India Hackathon. Why not have a smart Northeast Hackathon? The challenges and problems that are there from government, from the private sector, from the industry, can be given to the students of second year, third year. And our experience in Smart India Hackathon in the last 4 years has been some of the solutions given by students of second year, third year are adopted after they were solved by industries, by organizations like ISRO, DRDO, Ministry of Railways, Ministry of Health. That means huge strength lies that of our innovativeness at the ground level. But our curricula, the nature of the examinations, they dissuade our students from being innovative. And this is from KG to PG. Look at our examinations, the question papers, right in the lowest level, that is in Balwadi, Balvatika or UKG, you will say A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, and same thing continues. If the child writes something different, many a times teachers do not give marks. Same continues in the undergraduate program, postgraduate program. Maybe in research, during PhD, we have got some freedom to do original research. Otherwise, our MTech question papers or MA question papers, they are all based on rote learning. How do we move away from rote learning based question papers to higher order of thinking in terms of understanding of the subject, in terms of fundamentals being thoroughly deep down understandable, and then how do we make use of our abilities, critical thinking, analytical ability, in order to roll out finally innovativeness and creativity. I think that is where we need to lead to. So give enough opportunity in the curriculum to choose subjects, and that is another thing which the new national education policy has been allowing. Why can't we bring in faculty from industry into the academic institutions? May not have their MTech and PhDs or MA, PhDs, etc., but they have rich experience. How they can come in as professors of practice in our educational institutions? How can they contribute in our curriculum development? How can they assess our students? And then naturally students will become employable, they become entrepreneurial in terms of output or outcomes from out of those courses. I think that is where we need to completely transform our education system, and that will automatically lead to research. We will give some targets to each educational institution, the number of patents to be filed. By the way, patent filing cost has been substantially reduced to the extent of 80% reduction for educational institutions. If a student and faculty files a patent from an educational institution, price is slashed down to only 20% of the original cost. For industry, it is higher. For educational institutions, it has been made cheaper. So how can we file patents? Because our neighbor, the country which I don't want to mention, the number of patents they are filing is mind-boggling, and they were much behind us just about 20 years ago. How did they manage? Unless we have our clear roadmap for research and development, I think we will not go anywhere. Second part is, we are very poor in collaborations. I have found in many educational institutions, if there is an equipment available in X department, even Y department students are not allowed to use it. Forget about another institution and coming and using it. So we must have a culture of give and take, collaborations within the institution, outside the institution. And therefore, in the Northeast, whatever facilities are available with each other, we must share and allow students, if our institution have some good quality equipment, another institution, students or faculty want to come and make use of it, we must throw open our doors. Maybe sometimes for consumables you may charge a small fee, but actual facility itself being not allowed to be used is a criminal wastage of resource of the country. That's what is required to be done. And if we start doing step by step all of these kind of things which I have been narrating now, day is not far that high quality research will start happening, which is useful to society, be it in terms of transportation, be it in terms of energy, be it in terms of healthcare, which is already being undertaken here in IIT Guwahati and the government of Assam, be it in terms of agriculture and its production, be it in terms of all the newer technologies which are emerging. You must remember that cyber security is one of the greatest challenges all nations of the world are facing today. We must do research in cyber security, very robust firewalls where no one can intrude our systems, be it banking system. We are talking about academic bank of credits in our new education policy. The students' grade sheets, the students' credits which are earned are going to be stored. If someone can hack into it and transfer those credits of one student to other student, there is a big challenge. So I think cyber security, cloud computing, these are all also going to be very, very important. In terms of physical security, the use of drones are going to become more and more. On the borders, we have seen recently some of those intruders through the drones. How do we detect? They are so small. They're almost like a small speck. And the cameras many times do not detect. How do we create a software which will detect even a small speck which is coming in from enemy country and then take care of it by destroying it when it is still in the other country itself rather than when it enters into our system. I think these are all challenges which will lead to a lot of new projects possibly which can be done together, joint collaboration, because some faculty in some institution may have expertise, another institution may not have that expertise. We must join hands. So collaboration is a very, very important thing. And then awareness about what all is happening in the country and the world at large in terms of journals, research publications, how do we imbibe them in our culture, in our educational institution, and forge ahead. I think these are the broad outlines which we must all discuss in the next 1 hour or so and come to a logical conclusion that what is my role towards the R&D roadmap? What each institution is going to contribute? How do we collaborate with another institution? And if we do that, the day is not far, as I said, that we will be in the top of the world. And our ancient knowledge system also must be used. A lot of rich resource in terms of plant species is available in the Northeast. How it can be made use of in terms of new drugs and medicines, which will not only support our own country, but the rest of the world. That's where I will stop here. And if there are any quick questions, I will answer. And other panelists also will give their opinion. And let us have that deliberation to make it to a logical conclusion of success of the Northeast Research Conclave with so much of expenditure we have done, and we must have a clear roadmap for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. May I request Mr. Anshul Gupta, General Manager, Northeast Frontier Railways, to give his speech now. Thank you.
Good evening. First of all, from Railways, I am very thankful that this opportunity has been given to share my views on the research and development area where Railways, we are facing a lot of challenges today, and it's only when next generation research comes into picture. Research which it should be backed up with proper development of the services and product. That's the motto and idea with which Railways is working. The Indian Railways is working with an aim to become world-class railway system, be it rolling stocks, be it track, be it tunnels, bridges, be it control systems, security, safety. So every area now we are thinking of developing and adopting the world-class technologies. I'll start with the recent developments which have taken place, especially in Northeast, where you have seen that due to heavy rains, there is extensive damage which railway network has suffered. And this has been happening for last so many decades and years. So this calls for deep studies of geotechnical strata, soil strata, river behavior, and calls for a lot of new ideas. And this challenge I have already discussed with the IIT Guwahati and other institutes, that how we can work into this very, very important area when we expand our railway network across in Northeast Frontier Railway. The second is, again, because safety and security of passengers is very, very important. As Professor Sasbuddin, he talked of cyber security, but even the physical security is very, very important, and whether it's the natural calamity or man-made calamity, we have to find answers, and the due research, set up the standards, do the proper designing and the development of the services and the new products. As you know that already we are thinking of introducing hydrogen trains, Hyperloop. Already IIT Chennai, we are working closely with IIT Chennai to develop Hyperloop, and there is a plan to take railways to high altitude like Tawang and Nathula. So when you reach high altitudes, you need to develop different type of rolling stock, track structures, and many other things. So I think this is another challenge, not only to undertake research into this area where there is a construction challenge, but also the design challenge, because not only it's a challenge of the height, but even the oxygen levels are so low. So how to design a rolling stock where even at a lower oxygen level, the passengers can feel comfortable. So these are the new challenges which we have to face, going to face, and somehow the research or the innovative designs have to come into picture. Now the customer satisfaction is another area where railways is thinking that how to increase or improve passenger satisfaction. So now the passenger satisfaction, it has to be from, say, the day he books his ticket or the time he thinks of booking the ticket. So integrated approach towards passenger services, and the use of AI and machine learning is what railways is adopting. And again, it is very important that institutions and academia from IIT, especially in Guwahati, because now we are running one of the longest trains in the country, and there this aspect is very, very important. A customer who starts from, say, Kanyakumari or Rameshwaram and goes to Dibrugarh, he doesn't feel a lack of customer satisfaction at any time during his journey. So that's very, very important for us, and to keep him engaged, to keep him comfortable during this ride, whether to provide right kind of sanitation facilities, though we have developed and provided bio-toilets. That is also, again, a product developed by DRDO. But a lot of improvements and design improvements have to be done in that area also. Similarly, when you travel for long durations, a different kind of design of the rolling stock, as well as you can say the right comfort has to be provided. So that is another area and challenge which railways has posed up, and we hope that indigenous technologies and design can help us in not only providing a comfortable journey for longer duration, but even if they are traveling to higher altitude, they do not feel deprived of any good service. Now, because the future belongs to cloud services. So cloud services is right now the train control system. That's the most important when we want to say carry more passengers, more freight, so that the cost of travel and freight services, our aim is to cut the cost of service by 30%. So to reach that parameter or threshold, we have to have an integrated logistics system, and for that to achieve, the cloud-based services are very important, not only to provide passenger information, but to integrate various aspects of freight services and customer services. And when we integrate these services on cloud-based train control system, there comes the need to have a safer train transportation. So there is a concept of centralized traffic control system, and another thing which railways have developed with the help of our own research wing RDSO, which is called Kavach. So this Kavach is again a world-class product which is equivalent to, you can say, any similar train control and safety system across world. So integration of this system with other train control systems, so that we are able to run more trains, not only the passenger trains, but freight trains, and that too at higher speeds. So that is very important, and presently most of the vendors and the technologies which are available in the market, they are all imported technologies. So now again the role of academia is very, very important, that India-specific train control systems is the need of the hour, which can take care of the way we run our trains, the way people expect our trains to run. So that is another area. Next area where the technology has to play, even the science has to play a role, is the fuel. I spoke about the hydrogen trains. So we are going to introduce high-speed trains, which we shall be running from 250 km per hour to 300 or even more. And in future, we are also thinking of running magnetic levitation trains. So this again needs the involvement of academia in the field, in the area of science and technology, that we should have indigenous technologies to provide that high-speed transportation, as well as magnetic levitation and hyperloop technologies. And these technologies have to be sustainable also, because most of the time we do the research, we develop some research paper, and when the time comes for the design and development, I think we lack, and that's where the railway is coming into forefront. We are providing a incubation ground or incubation platform where the academia as well as the industry, they can partner with railways to develop these future technologies and solutions, so that we can become a, you can say, future-ready railway network, and we can have that kind of technologies which even world has not seen, and then these can be exported at the price which maybe 1/10 or 1/5 cost of the price which similar type of products are being provided by many of the countries abroad. Now the surveillance is a very unique thing, especially in Northeast, because Northeast is plagued with the boundaries, the international boundaries, and we do face a lot of issues in the area of surveillance. And railway has to play a very important role when we have to track some unwanted element or some antisocial element or even the extremist. And we have provided certain surveillance systems to help other law enforcing agencies in the country. But ultimately, this surveillance system has to be an integrated surveillance system. In the country, every law enforcing agency, they have their own surveillance system, and somewhere somebody has to integrate these systems. because most of these technologies, they are imported technologies, so they have different protocols, and the desired interfaces and protocols have to be now integrated so that they can talk to each other, and we have end-to-end surveillance and tracking of any person who is suspected to have indulged in any anti-country or anti-social activity. So these are the things where Railways has already taken steps, and not only with the DRDO and RDSO we are working on these technologies, but industry is also partnering with us to develop an end-to-end solution for this camera-based or other technologies for a foolproof surveillance system. So these were the few of the points which I mentioned. Most important is that Railways, we are providing a platform, incubation ground, even our laboratories we are ready to create where these future technologies, whosoever wants to develop, we can have hackathons, we can have technology challenges, science challenges, where they can demonstrate their technologies, and together we can work to provide those products and services which can make us a world-class system. Thank you, everyone.
Before I hand over to Professor Priyanku briefly, may I request Shri Bhaskar Jyoti Phukan, Director Technical and Managing Director NRL, to kindly come on stage, please. May I also request Dr. Sujata Chaklanovis, Scientist G, DSIR, to kindly come on stage and take a seat, please. And finally, may I also request Shri SSV Ramkumar, Director R&D IOC, to kindly come on stage, please, and take a seat on the dais. I also take this opportunity to request our coordinator and moderator again, Professor Priyanku Sharma, to kindly welcome them with a full Gamosha. Thank you, everyone. I now request Professor Priyanku Sharma to continue with moderating the session, please.
May I now request Dr. Arup Kumar Mishra to deliver his speech now?
Very good evening to one and all present here. My respected, esteemed panelists on the dais, respected audience, where I see people from industry, academia, as well as some children who made my day. Actually, when I came here, I didn't find any school children here, but later on I found that some children have come here, joined here, because whatever little I wanted to say, it was basically meant for you. I would like to state first that this year, 2022 is very, very important for Indian science and technology. Before I speak anything else on the R&D needs of the region, I would like to pay my homage to 6 great souls of India who were born on 1922, exactly 100 years back. First name I would like to name, this is especially for my young friends from school and college, Dr. Hargobind Khorana, born on 9 January 1922. You all know, along with Robert Hawley and Marshall Nirenberg, he won the Nobel Prize for Medicine or Physiology in 1968 for their interpretation of the genetic code and function in protein synthesis. Khorana was the first scientist to achieve synthesis of an artificial gene. Why I'm saying so? Because science and technology culture, what we call ecosystem, it doesn't fall from the sky. It is built upon some foundations. And all 6 names I will name now, they laid the foundation for India. He was born and brought up in Punjab. Later on, he went to USA. Of course, his Nobel Prize is counted in the American tally, but nevertheless, his basic education was in India. Second name is the lady, Dr. Rajeshwari Chatterjee. It's a big name in science and technology in India. Born into a South Indian family, married to Sisir Kumar Chatterjee in IITG Bangalore. Rajeshwari did her BSc, MSc from India. Later on, went to University of Michigan at Ann Arbor, complete higher studies in electrical and electronics engineering. Her basic degree was in mathematics. Later on, shifted to, this is also something which I want to tell you. Every example I'm giving has got some inner meaning. Sometimes Indian people don't get the opportunity to work in India, they go abroad and shine. Sometimes Indian people study abroad, take the training abroad, come back, and they shine. So Rajeshwari Chatterjee is a great example for our girls, female students and girls. I always use this example. Wherever I speak to the school children, I tell them that we are today talking about gender equity. But there was a time when she broke the common barrier and went to USA to study, but maintained all throughout her life that whatever I do, I'll do for my country. Third name I'm giving today is Balasubramaniam Ramamurthy, also born in 1922. He was the first indigenous, he did the first indigenous and organized neurosurgery in Madras in 1950. Today, neurosurgery is done in many places, including Guwahati. Many hospitals, nursing homes are coming up with neurosurgery facilities. In 1950, 3 years after independence, you could not imagine that. But this gentleman, Ramamurthy, B. Ramamurthy, he did it. He's a living legend of Indian brain research, surgery, and neurosciences. Next person who was also born in 1922 is Dr. G.S. Ladda. He is a chemical engineer from Lakshmi Narayan Institute of Technology, LIT in Nagpur. This is one of the few institutions in India which started chemical engineering very early. I'm also a chemical engineer from Assam Engineering College. In 1944, he did his BE, then 47 his MTech, and 49 PhD from Purdue University in the USA. His work of transport phenomena, droplets in spray columns, hydrodynamic studies in 2 and 3 phase reactors are really exemplary work in chemical sciences. His report on, this is more important what I'm saying right now, especially my young friends, please notice, his report on environmental pollution caused by chemical industries in developing countries was the first report submitted by anybody in the world to the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, in 1977-79. In this period, he did the studies. He was the first man. In 77, environmentalism was not so in thing. People didn't talk much about that. Textbooks did not contain much about pollution. People knew there were some scattered efforts here and there about environmentalism, environmental science, but there was hardly anything. In our courses also, when we did our engineering studies, little bit of chapter was there on air pollution, water pollution, something like that, but it was not taken very seriously. There was no organized courses in the country. At that time, Professor Ladda had given this report to UNEP, which later on made the foundation for their programs. Fifth name I'm naming out of many who were born in this particular year, 100 years back, was Dr. Y. Nayudamma. He was also a chemical engineer and scientist born in Andhra Pradesh on 10th September 1922. His friend and one of his followers, Joseph Halse, he best described this man. I'll just quote what Joseph Halse had told about Dr. Nayudamma. He said, for more than a decade and a half, I had heard him advance the concept of technologies for humanity, of the need to apply high-level science and technology to ground-level promises, to bring modern science to bear the problems and needs of the rural poor. Today, everyone talks about this. Starting from scientists to engineers to teachers to students to politicians, we all talk about science for poor, science for society, translational science, research, so on and so forth. Imagine this man, so many years back, 60, 65 years back, he wrote and he told about this, which was accepted by Halsey, who was a famous protagonist of the International Research and Development Council, we call IRDC of Canada. And the last but not the least name I would name is Dr. Gopal Samudram Narayana Ramachandran. In short, they call GNR. GN Ramachandran. He's a truly Nobel class scientist. Many people feel, even now people feel that he missed the Nobel Prize. He should have gotten the Nobel Prize. But he somehow missed it. Who is counted among the best researchers for his discovery of the triple helical structure of collagen. He and his team introduced a two-dimensional map known as Ramachandran phi-side diagram, or simply we call Ramachandran plot, and which is a milestone in molecular biology. And dear student friends, young friends, I'm telling you, the future of our country, future of this region to a large extent rests on biotechnology and biosciences. Only 3 days back, I was present in a ONGC function in Jorhat, in their Assam and Arakan Assam basin. Believe me, all physicochemical treatment for pollution control have failed, and only now the big oil companies are looking for bioremediation, biostimulation, bioaugmentation, biopiling, wherever it is microbial or some bacterial strains coming for treatment of polluted water, polluted sludge, oily sludge, etc., because they are less harmful. People have realized that. Therefore, a large number of students in our country are now moving towards the biosciences, as we can see it. So these are just some of the thoughts, right? I thought that instead of giving you some prescription for what to do in life, because ultimately it is you and only you who can decide what excites you and what research you would like to do. We are there to only guide you and tell you, look, these are the areas. For example, recently I came across the concept of Niti Aayog coming around with 11 topics. They said these are the 11 areas for circular economy. You understand circular economy? Circular economy is nothing but a new way of looking at things. If a thread is open, from both the ends of this thread, things can come in and go out. You're keeping it open. If you join these two heads and pluck it, it becomes a ring or a loop. So we call, in chemical engineering, we call closing the loop. Indian industry, sugar industry has closed the loop. What do we mean by that? Earlier, sugar cane was crushed, bagasse was a waste. Then while doing the distillation process, molasses was the waste. Ultimately, when you take all the sugar cane and other things out, you have you have the press mud as the waste. 3 things were there. During my master's in Kanpur IIT, repeatedly our professor Gehlawat used to tell in the classroom that there are 3 types of problems in a sugar industry and we don't know what to do. Later on, people found that why burn fossil fuel? Why burn fresh fuel? This bagasse may be less calorific value. It's free. After you take the sugar cane out, the entire thing is left to you. The bagasse is there. So better burn it in the boilers to generate heat, steam. What about the molasses? Oh, if you tie up with, if you have an MOU with some distillery making alcoholic beverages, you can sell entire things. The last drop. It was done. Maharashtra, UP, all the belt. I've seen myself. I've been to Ichalkaranji, Aurangabad, Mahabaleshwar area. So we have seen that in Maharashtra and other places, how they are having regular tie-up. Industry coming to the door of the sugar mill and carrying entire molasses generated. What of the press mud? Central Road Research Institute was given the responsibility of finding out what to do with this press mud. They found that in some places where the traffic is not very heavy vehicles ply, in those places, making rural roads, etc., press mud could be used for making the roads or mixing up with different things, even the extent of making some tiles and other formations. In the construction industry, house making industry, this type of things can be used. This is the example of circular economy. You don't generate waste. Whatever is being processed, all the byproducts and main products are used up, and ultimately you don't throw away any waste. This is circular economy. It sounds very big name, but we have been practicing. We have been practicing. I always jokingly tell, when I meet people in informal gathering, I said, you go home and find out, ask your mother or wife in the kitchen shelf, how many things are there which are not fresh, used again and again. They says, oh, yes. All the nimak, haldi, masala, oil are used in old Horlicks bottles, other things, ice cream containers, whatnot. So we are going circular. We are going circular. You don't buy all the new things in home. You use something again, reuse, recycle. All these things, concepts are inbuilt in Indian system. Now it's a matter of only putting. So Niti Aayog, what they said, they says to go circular, we have to go for focus areas. There are 11 focus areas. I'll just name and leave the decision to you. One is very important for my organization. Since I am Chairman Pollution Control Board, my headache is always for how to take care of the waste. Waste in so many forms. Municipal solid waste, biomedical waste, hazardous waste, construction and demolition waste, e-waste and whatnot. So now, Niti Aayog rightly said, number 1 point for R&D in this country now should be municipal solid waste and liquid waste. Number 2, again a very big issue, scrap metal, both ferrous and non-ferrous. How do we take care of the scrap metal? Number 3, I've already named electronic waste. Number 4, Professor Sahasra Buddha already spoke about that, lithium-ion batteries. Lithium-ion batteries has all the promise for the future. Maybe there will be other metallic combinations as well, metal or metal oxides, because we are now talking very big about electric vehicles. This year, 2022, already, like our Transport Department, Government of India, DHI, they have already given permission for about 6,690 bigger EVs, about 3,200 odd charging stations, about 3.2 lakh small cars. You know, last week only Tata Nexon came up with the Tata Nexon car for EVs, and EVs is coming in a big way. This is coming in a big way. It might be one of the solutions, partial solution to the fossil fuel problems and greenhouse effect and climate change. Number 5 is solar panels. Solar panels we are using in India. We have done it, but we are all bringing from other countries, mostly China. Number 6 is gypsum. 7, toxic and hazardous industrial waste. 8, used oil waste. This is what the topic was only 3 days back, 17th in ONGC. Lots of experts were from the country, they came together in one umbrella. Professors from IIT Roorkee, IIT Delhi, people from TERI, and all discussion was basically how to treat the waste. Number 9, agricultural waste, another problem for us. I've been telling it, we have huge agricultural waste in Assam, but who will keep on collecting from door to door? There is no organized sector. All scattered, unorganized sector, people are throwing small hamlets, small villages like that. Therefore, it's a big problem. It's a huge potential, but we have to work on that. Number 10, tire and rubber recycling, and 11, end-of-life vehicles, that is scrap value. I'm glad to say, few of my students whom I had taught in long back in late 80s and early 90s in Assam Engineering College have come up with concrete proposals. They have come to the board also, to Pollution Control Board for, getting a license and what we call CTE, CTO, for starting some battery scrap, motor vehicle scrap type of industries in Assam. Right now, we don't have any here. So therefore, dear friends, the condition is very rife. It is a right time to go for scientific and technological research, studies, idea of circularity, as I told, is in the Indian culture. And our aim is to transition from linear to circular economy in their respective focus areas. This is what I mean to say. Most happening sectors, even the school children will tell me, if I ask you, then you will say computer, electronics, information and communication technology, pharmaceuticals, biotech, especially after 2021, 2 years of pandemic. After this whole pandemic, we have learned very hard way how to go ahead with these things. Semiconductors is another area where this is there. My last point is that I have been telling it, actually the name of this particular write-up, what I made, was 3C mantra for developing tomorrow's scientific culture. I had shown my respected elder brother, Professor Sahasra Buddhe. We share a long relationship from here, from this campus, when he was Deputy Director of IIT Guwahati. I told him that, Dada, you just spoke about collaboration. You see, 1 week back, I wrote this note for IIT. I said 3C mantra: coordination, collaboration, and commitment. Without commitment to science and technology, or without commitment to whatever you do, whatever may be, one cannot succeed. Therefore, I just a simple sentence. Paul Duprex, a virologist, he wrote after the COVID, he wrote, we are collaborating with Pasteur Institute in Paris, one country, France, and Themis Bioscience, an Austrian drug company, second country. We have received funds from Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation from Norway, third country, which in turn is financed by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation of the USA, fourth country, and few other governments. We are also taking to the Serum Research Institute of India, fifth country, one of the largest vaccine manufacturers of the world. 5 countries are involved in making one simple drug or vaccine for the COVID-19. This was the collaboration we have seen. After 1980s, when the AIDS came, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, world has never seen such collaboration. I'm telling you, gentlemen and my dear students, collaboration will stay. Individually, I may not be self-sufficient. Individually, I may not be knowing all the art and science and commerce of R&D. But if I take my friends along, if I know where are my strengths, whom to approach, definitely we can succeed. So we need to balance our research interests with the societal demands. We need to carry the positive takeaways from this crisis of future planning. We need to collaborate more and more to carry out R&D work for better outputs. Education in general and R&D spending in particular do not enjoy much priority in any country compared to the budget heads. Israel is number 1, 5% GDP they spend, America 2.2%, India only 0.23%. I've been telling in all the meetings, when we meet Honorable Chief Minister, our minister also, I always tell, sir, at least some more research funding should be there for the young people to be attracted. By paying 30,000 rupees JRF, SRF, these days you cannot get the best talent for any university or college or institution like ours. Recently, Pollution Control Board in the history, first time advertised in the paper for junior research fellow and senior research fellow, JRF, SRF. People said, are you trying to become university or college? I said, nothing doing. We are just short of people. We want JRF, SRF to run our show. A lot of R&D is involved in pollution control. It is not just CTE, CTO giving body. It has a lot of academic efforts, a lot of things to do in future, and we'll do it and we'll show you that we can also do, like colleges and universities, some serious R&D work and some development. Thanks for patient hearing, and dear students, I gave you some scattered thoughts here and there, but future lies with you. We have played our innings, good or bad we do not know. You have to play your innings. Good luck, best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra. May I now request, okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I now request excuse me. So now may I request Shri Bhaskarjyoti Bhupen, Managing Director, Numaligarh Refinery Limited, to please come and give his talk.
Dignitaries on the dais, audience, students, ladies and gentlemen. I feel privileged to be standing in front of you and trying to deliver a talk. My previous erudite speakers have already spoken at length about the problem statements, the opportunities, and the responsibilities of student communities and upcoming scholars who can contribute to the growth of the nation. I do not want to give a big lecture. I am from a hydrocarbon industry. I am from a refining industry. So I will stick to some of the problem statement and problems that we face. As you may have observed, previous speakers have already told about things which is actually challenging the longevity of the hydrocarbon industry. Definitely, our products giving mobility solutions are already under threat. EVs are reality, and the government of India is also looking very seriously at net zero, and as a roadmap, hydrogen is being touted as the future mobility fuel. So that being the case, what do you do with the hydrocarbon industry? What do you do with the resources that we have? Unfortunately, this part of the country, we have a very large hydrocarbon resource, be it crude oil or gas. So we have to keep our eyes and ears open how to keep these resources and to monetize to the extent possible. See, why you think that people is tending to go away from hydrocarbon? Because it is being said that burning hydrocarbon is not good because there are a lot of carbon dioxide which gets emitted during the production of fuel as well as during the burning of the fuel. Simple as that. Also, during the production and transmission and use of your natural gas, a lot of methane gets emitted, which is a very severe greenhouse gas, though its longevity in the atmosphere is much lower than CO2. So CO2, if gets emitted, it remains there for a very long time. So that being the case, in the hydrocarbon industry, people are trying to capture carbon dioxide. Capturing carbon dioxide is one part of the solution only, but what to do with the captured carbon dioxide is another story altogether. People are pursuing something called CCUS, you must have all heard, that carbon capture, utilization and storage. People say that in EOR process, in certain particular wells, you can actually use carbon dioxide instead of nitrogen for enhanced oil recovery, but that is only a marginal solution. Definitely a lot of smart chemicals can also be produced once you have pure carbon dioxide captured from the processes. It can be from the flue gases, it can be during the production of hydrogen, etc., which can reduce the carbon dioxide emission while producing hydrocarbon. But if you have seen the recent times, the lesson learned is that migrating away from hydrocarbon is okay, but how quickly you should do. I think the West have shown a great deal of hurry, and as a result, you see the current fuel prices. Yes, our Ukraine war has also contributed largely to that, but US today is craving for diesel. There is no diesel in US, and if you look at the prices which gets reported in CNBC and others, the diesel prices is far more than the crude prices. The spread has been unprecedented, not ever seen in the world. Actually, currently the spread of diesel versus crude is around $47 per barrel. It was never seen in history ever, actually. So that being the case, what has gone wrong? People have stopped investing in hydrocarbon sector, upstream, downstream, like that in the West, much more aggressively than they ought to have done. Actually, you should have a solution at hand and then do the migration. So India is very aggressively embarking on and trying to find out whether hydrogen can be used as an alternative for mobility solution. Now, to generate hydrogen and to encourage more use of electrolyzers, the government of India is trying to give a mandate to the refiners. Maybe it will also spill over to the fertilizer company who uses steam reforming, natural gas reforming as a process of hydrogen production, and then they migrate to something called green hydrogen production, use green power to split water into hydrogen and oxygen. And hydrogen then will be called green hydrogen. So to encourage production of green hydrogen, they are mandating refineries to at least portion of the gray hydrogen which is getting produced to green hydrogen, so that enough interest is generated for the manufacturer to come and set shops for production of electrolyzers here, so that electrolysis is a way of producing hydrogen. If you ponder a little bit, that hydrogen will again be used for producing fuel like petrol and diesel, because we have to strip sulfur from those, and as a result we insist on a lot of hydro processing units like hydrocracker, hydrotreater, wherein a lot of hydrogen gets consumed. If that hydrogen is produced in a green manner, that is good, but end of the day you are again producing petrol and diesel. Because once the petrol and diesel disappears, gradually disappears and tapers down as a auto fuel, you have to find alternative. Otherwise, our assets, also our resources underground, will get stranded and that will not get monetized. So there will be a lot of smart chemicals which will come, and refineries are gradually migrating from the fuel to chemicals. So people are already started talking about, and in fact doing, crude to chemical plants. So refinery of today will not be the refinery of tomorrow. So they will heavily migrate from fuel producing refinery to chemical producing plants. It will be petrochemical, smart chemicals, some sorts of solvent, methanol, all those things will get produced in a refinery. So that opens a huge scope, and there will be huge problems while the migration takes place. This is one area where a lot of research can take place, and academia and industry can collaborate. In fact, as a refiner, we are already collaborating with IIT Guwahati. Also, we are collaborating with NIST Jorhat to find out certain solutions, and in future also the collaboration will increase only. So this is one aspect that I wanted to highlight, that is in the quest to get to carbon neutrality, refineries will end up producing a lot of smart chemicals, and there are a lot of scopes to study and give technology and develop technology to produce different smart chemicals, because India is not equipped. India doesn't have licensed processes for producing many smart chemicals that people are already talking about. So this is one area where focus should be, and to commercialize certain production processes. Second, the future refineries will be digital refinery. So what is digital refining? Today we have IoT, IIoT, whatever you talk about, extensively used in refinery. So that is feeding data, and we have distributed control system to control the plants. But layers above that is called APC. APC is also there. You have almost automated plant operation, and it can self-optimize the operation to a certain extent. But it is only a limited kind of a intelligence. So you need to migrate to higher degree of intelligence. So there are segmentation within the refinery. Since I am from a refinery, I will concentrate more on refinery. So we have a segmented process. If the process is monitored through IIoT devices, the equipments are monitored separately. So what we are currently trying to do, we merge those inputs in single platform and build analytics on top of it, so that the correlations are understood and things can be further automated. This is a huge area. Actually, we are embarking into a process wherein we are trying to push the data into a cloud system, and then there we are trying to build analytics by a third party. So those third parties can also be students. We can open the door to the students, and those lacks of data and correlations can be seen, and you can also provide solution which can be replicated not only in one refinery, because process being similar, it can also be replicated in others. There are thousands of areas where optimization can be done using this. So we can open the doors for any person, any student who wants to pursue this digitization effort, and particularly AI/ML application in the refinery operation. This is a huge scope. That's what I wanted to tell. Third, all the refiners, as I'm again coming back to the topic of net zero, carbon neutrality. So all the refiners are going to announce their carbon neutrality program. So there will be a scope galore for the clean tech products to be implemented in many forms. Be it carbon capture or otherwise, or energy optimization, there is a huge scope in energy optimization in the refinery. So all the refiners in India are benchmarking their energy performances. If you consume less energy, you emit less carbon dioxide. That may be another way of getting closer to net zero. Therefore, all the refiners in India are embarking on benchmarking studies, and they have found themselves that their energy performances are not to the world standard. They are hardly in quartile 3 and quartile 2. So there are a long way to go, and people are already talking about going to quartile 1. Quartile 1 means you are one of the best performers among the world as compared to your size and complexity. So that being the case, there will be a lot of energy optimization initiatives undertaken by the refiners and the process units. There lies the opportunity. You can actually, who are in the chemical sphere or mechanical or somebody, and a collaborative effort can be built up, and deep study can be done further how to reduce the energy used in the refining. So lot of knowledge are there with the refiners, and if they can collaborate more extensively with the academia, I think more and more solutions will come. With these 3 narrow thoughts of problem statement related to my industry, I would like to conclude, and wishing the best for this conclave. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your very focused points that you have made here. Now I would like to request Sri Pankaj Kumar Goswami, Director Operations Oil India Limited, to come and deliver his talk. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. In fact, this is a momentous occasion, and I feel extremely proud to have been given this responsibility to deliver a talk in front of this small but very mixed gathering. I can see members from various fronts, from students to academia, then industrial people also. I just hope that I can do justice to the fate reposed on me, and would like to set the talk in such a way that the next few minutes we spend together, it becomes valuable in terms of unlocking new perspectives and new ways of thinking. I am also from energy space, so like my previous speaker, Bhupen, I am also from E&P industry. I am basically from upstream. Bhaskar is from downstream. So I would also like to concentrate my talk mostly in terms of energy, to be very specific in terms of energy transition. The activities in the world is now expressed by the management gurus with a simple acronym. They call it VUCA world. They call it VUCA world, V-U-C-A. It's short for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. That means we are living in a very volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world characterized by frequent disruptions and shifts towards the new ways of life. So this VUCA completes 4 distinct types of challenges that demand 4 distinct types of responses. That makes it very difficult to know how to approach a challenging situation. Over and above the impacts of geopolitical events can be felt right now. The Ukraine war was on. Then societal expectations are also going high and changing very frequently. Technological disruptions are rendering age-old traditions obsolete, and massive turnarounds are happening across the industry. So this makes the life complex, ambiguous, each and every day. And today's world, the only permanent thing in life is a change. And this stands validated more than ever in today. So now we know that the world where we are living is in constant change, and hence innovation plays a crucial role in promoting change and uplifting the status quo. We talk about status quo of the society, we talk about status quo of life and its economic conditions. Thus, innovation can help in ensuring shared progress of humanity. If I talk about business parlance, innovation becomes the differentiator of competitive advantage, leading to higher total stakeholder return. Innovation and ideas have no coordinates, enhancing utility and bringing in new tools, technology, and new ways of life. That calls for innovation in all aspects of human life today. So, therefore, the researchers can contribute in every significant and meaningful way towards this transformation and evaluation of human life. Coming very specifically to the energy space, where I am a lifelong collaborator, I can say that the industry is at a crossroad of transformation. It has already been said that we are going from a transition from fossil fuel to alternate sources, and this has been talked about, if I can remember, from our childhood days. But at that point of time, we were unsure about the path. We stopped at the crossroad. We couldn't cross that crossroad. But to be very specific, today, this time, a great energy transition is happening across everywhere. At this moment, unlike the earlier series of disruptions, this energy transformation is expected to encompass the entire gamut of human activities. This is a good news for the energy worshippers like us. I am saying this change is a good news because it brings plethora of opportunities for the researchers to work on. So new technology will have to work the energy sources for a viable energy mix and shift the consumer behavior, encouraging responsible investing in business activities and adoption of new metrics and so on, we can say. Upgraded and novel business models will have to be crafted to deliver on scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions of companies. And there is visible concern on climate change. Almost 70% of the world's economies have pledged to the net zero commitments. Investments on ESG's fronts are happening in a big way. And we have already started to see visible actions across the industries to respond and leverage this energy transition. There is a massive disruption happening across the industry, and new business models are coming up. So, from being an upstream oil industry, let me talk about my organization also. As a pioneering E&P company, Oil India Limited has initiated focus program on basic E&P activities. And we have also augmented our renewable portfolio. We have entered into solar, we have entered into wind energy. Recently, we have entered into also green hydrogen. And in this process, we are in collaboration with IIT Guwahati for taking up more research activities on hydrogen as a fuel for the future. So for a sustainable future, decarbonization is of paramount importance, but India is a big country and India is a very big economy. So hence, considering the demand for energy with respect to the size of the economy, the real challenge lies in meeting the targets timely, objectively, and effectively. While the new norms of green power are creeping silently, the focus on ENP will always remain. So there are still many things to be evolved. Maybe at one point of time, as already Bhaskar Bhupen has said, oil and gas may be replaced by hydrogen or battery in the mobility sector, in the automobile industry. But in a country like India, definitely it will go very slow. There are still places where the normal fossil fuel is also not regularly available. So this makes this transformation journey for India very complex and more difficult. We may need a different formula altogether for India. Even we talk about our daily life, the ointment we use, the body gel we use, or even the shoe shine we use, all these products have carbon footprint in it. So nothing can happen overnight, and all this shifting will take place very slowly. Of course, maybe for other countries it may go first, but for a country like India, it will always go slow. So friends, I reiterate that the challenges faced by the world on various fronts today offer a gamut of opportunities, opportunity to research, and research again, till we find a suitable solution on all these parameters. All our green energy plants are running maybe for 6 hours or 8 hours per day, because the green energy, maybe from solar or maybe from wind, is not running all throughout, because it is dependent on sun, it is dependent on wind. We all are looking for a battery which is at the size of a mobile phone, and that can even run a vehicle. We all are looking for a battery which is the size of a mobile phone and which can be charged in your bedroom, and that can run a vehicle. It means we are looking for a battery which is very small, which is maybe a size of a mobile phone, which can be charged in my bedroom, and next day morning I can use that battery to move my vehicle maybe 300 kilometers. So that only will change the entire history of ENP industry. So it is where the young pool of researchers, guided by the subject matter experts, to achieve the impossible that we are looking for. And that will bring synergy to deliver and deploy. So I hope it is such a conclave of stakeholders, various stakeholders, having common interest in solving the bigger issues of humanity, that will have to act tirelessly from innovation to adoption of new technology as ways of life for a better tomorrow. It is always proclaimed that innovation happens at the intersections. I earnestly hope that this Northeast Research Conclave will turn out to be a breeding space of intersections, and many novel innovations having the potential to steer the next course of human endeavors will emerge as a result of this grand conclave. We need innovation for a better society and definitely for a better tomorrow. With these few words, I offer my sincere gratitude to the dignitaries on the dais, eminent scientists, and members from the academia, industry, then schools, colleges, and to all the young minds who have gathered here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Goswami. May I now request Dr. Sujata Shaklanobis, scientist of Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, to please come and deliver a few words.
Thank you very much. Good evening to all. All the previous speakers were talking about various aspects of industry as they come from industry. I will be talking on something very different. If you want to do R&D or want to do anything in industry or in life, you need money for that. So what I would be speaking on is how to get the funds for executing your R&D endeavors. So before going into the main presentation, let me introduce my organization. I come from the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, which is one of the 3 departments of the Ministry of Science and Technology, the other 2 being DST and DBT. My department is operating 2 central sector schemes. The first one is Industrial Research and Development, and the second one is Assistance to Public Sector Enterprises. The first scheme, Industrial Research and Development, has 4 subsections. The first one is Common Research and Technology Development Hub. The second one is PACE, which is Patent Acquisition, Collaborative Research and Technology Development. The third one is A2K+, Access to Knowledge and Dissemination. The fourth one is PRISM, which is Promoting Innovations in Individual Startups and MSMEs. The 2 public sector enterprises under DSIR are Central Electronics Limited and National Research and Development Corporation. So we are all in Assam. Basically, the conclave is focused on Northeast. I would say that Mother Nature has been very generous to this area of the country. If I talk particularly about Assam, Assam has abundant coal, petroleum, natural gas, limestone, and other precious minerals. The forests of Northeast have abundant species of plants. Talking about Assam, it's reported that simply Assam has more than 952 varieties of plants, many of them being medicinal plants and being used very effectively. If we talk about bamboo, it has been an integral part of the cultural, social, and economic traditions of Assam. This renewable and versatile resource is an important component of the natural wealth of the state, which grows abundantly in the forests and is cultivated in homesteads, groves, and on private plantations. Assam and the Northeast are replete with potential for transforming the region into a hub of horticulture and processed food. So what I mean to say is that there is ample opportunity for the micro, small, and medium enterprises housed in the Northeast to flourish and nurture in future. In the recent past, several startups have also come up in the Northeast. Talking about a few of them, Zizira offers herbs, spices, and honey from Meghalaya, considered to be the most biodiverse region in India. Voyage is an environmental conservation model-based startup in Gangtok that works towards a goal of zero waste in Himalayas. Runway Nagaland was founded with a vision to promote the Made in Nagaland brand using locally available materials and techniques. So you must be wondering, why am I talking about the various resources available in Northeast? It's simply because I want to reiterate that the natural resources available in this region makes this region a very potential state or region to take up various industrial activities. So if we talk about MSMEs, as per the 73rd National Sample Survey, which was taken up in 2015-16 by National Sample Survey Organization, it reported that there are about 63.4 million MSMEs in India, which provides employment to about 110 million people. It supports about 45% of export of the nation and adds to about 30% GDP of the nation. So MSMEs are the backbone of our country, or for that matter, for any developing country. So it's important that we nurture these MSMEs, or by providing various support systems so that they bloom and nurture. Our department, the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, has two wonderful programs which support these MSMEs for their R&D endeavors. The first program which I'll be talking about is Common Research and Technology Development Hub, which aims to enhance translational research and foster industry-institute interaction, leading to growth of innovative capabilities of MSMEs and conversion of scientific knowledge, ideas, and inventions into marketable products and services. It also facilitates to access to research facilities like sophisticated research equipment and pilot plant facilities by enterprises, startups, and micro, small, and medium enterprises. Just now in the previous session where I was present, where all the heads of institutions, the vice chancellors, and several other dignitaries were present, Professor Sahasrabuddhe said that the equipment which are there with various institutes should be listed in iSTEM. All the equipment in CRTDH, it's mandatory for them to list them on iSTEM, which is being managed by Indian Institute of Science. The Department of Scientific and Industrial Research extends 70% of the funds to create these common research and technology development hubs, and the 30% have to be borne by the institute or university where it has to be housed. There are about 16 common research and technology development hubs established by DSIR so far in 4 phases. We have covered 14 states so far, and many more remain to be reached by us. It's our dream that we have at least one common research and technology development hub in each state and union territory of this country. If I give a small glimpse of what exactly these common research and technology development hubs are doing, you will get a feel of what they can offer and what MSMEs can get from these CRTDHs. The first CRTDH, what I'll be talking about, is the CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur. Actually, I had a PowerPoint presentation, but somehow I find that there's no laptop to be connected. Otherwise, I could have shown the pictures of, you have it? They can arrange it? Okay, then I'll show the pictures. Yeah. Yeah. So I was talking about the CRTDH established at IIT Kharagpur, and this project is still on. They have not completed their 5 years so far, but they are doing really well, and we are very happy about this CRTDH center. While talking about the achievements of this CRTDH, you'll be glad to know that they are training MSMEs and rural entrepreneurs on test kit prototype development, technology transfer, test kit and reagent supply chain, etc. More than 30 MSMEs have participated in the MSME screen. Yeah. So this is a small slide where I have tried to capture the performance of various CRTDHs which have been supported by us so far. So since inception, the scheme has been able to mobilize an institutional commitment of 48.37 crores against DSIR support of 87.74 crores. And under the CRTADH program, Uttar Pradesh has the maximum DSIR support for rupees 14 crores, followed by West Bengal with the DSIR support for 10.92 crores. So I was talking about the CRTDH center at IIT Kharagpur. We have provided state-of-the-art equipment to them, which can be utilized by the MSMEs whenever they need it, subject to availability of those equipment. Like it should be free for, using it by the MSMEs, because many MSMEs would like to utilize the services. It's on a basis of paying a very small marginal amount to the CRTDH. So I was talking about creating the ecosystem for the MSMEs and entrepreneurs. More than 30 MSMEs participated in the MSME meeting so far, and 23 MSME enterprises and more than 150 rural entrepreneurs have been trained under this CRTDH. So many CRTDHs have converted the adversary that has come forward because of the COVID-19 pandemic into opportunity. CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur is one of them. They have developed a couple of technologies, products, and processes which they have successfully commercialized and have licensed it to a couple of industries as well. To name a few, they have developed CoviWrap, CoviCube, which is an integrated portable detector for qualitative detection of multiple vital parameters. COVID-19 screening app, they have developed this also. So I would like to talk about CoviWrap, which I find is that it's a very interesting product what they have developed. CoviWrap is a unique molecular diagnostic device for rapid, low-cost detection of COVID-19 infection. It has been developed by IIT Kharagpur researchers under the support of CRTDH program of DSIR and has been successfully validated for its efficacy in COVID-19 detection by the ICMR. IIT Kharagpur has transferred the right of commercializing the CoviWrap technology to a couple of companies on being paid one-time technology transfer fee and subsequent sharing of royalty based on a percentage of the revenue generated. They have obtained 17 patents so far, and have published 10 papers, which is, I believe, they are doing remarkably well, because it's not, they have not completed the 5-year tenure and already have achieved a lot. So if I tell the achievements of DSIR CRTDH at IIT Kharagpur in a nutshell, I would say that 37 rural health units have been formed in 9 e-health clusters, and in collaboration with JSV Innovation Private Limited. As a result, access to primary health has been provided to 4 lakh people. Out of them, more than 2,500 patients made physical visits to the established digital health clinics, and others were provided home care. 140 rural youth were employed in the e-clinic through entrepreneurship model. More than 65% of the health workers are women who have been trained in an accredited course certified by NSTC. 1 mobile e-health waterborne vehicle with diagnostic facilities has been made operational in the islands of Sundarbans, West Bengal. The mobile e-health launch covers 7 islands in Sundarbans, providing primary care to more than 1.5 lakh population. The mobile van will provide advanced diagnostic tests to around 4 lakh rural population. So if you see, they have also transferred technology. 18 technology transfers have been agreed upon, 10 have been executed, and 6 are in the pipeline of execution. 18 MSMEs have been using the established CRTDH facilities already. Additional 36 MSMEs and startups have got associated with the CRTDH lab for technology transfer and manufacturing material on reagent supply chain activities leading to commercialization. As I said, they have already sealed 17 patents and have published 10 papers. The second CRTDH, what I'll be talking about is CCMB. This CRTDH has also performed very well and have repurposed their objectives because of COVID-19 pandemic. So this is the kind of infrastructure, state-of-the-art equipment, what has been provided by DSIR, and the performance indicators, if you take a look at the performance indicators, that's also quite impressive. 10 MSMEs have been incubated at this CRTDH. They have filed 14 IPRs. More than 16 crore rupees have been raised as funds by the MSMEs incubated in this CRTDH, and these incubatees have received 5 awards. More than 1 crore revenue has been generated by CRTDH. Out of the incubatees so far, 3 have graduated. More than 35 people have been employed through this CRTDH, and more than 50 MSMEs engaged. So in just one CRTDH, I believe it's a good, impressive performance. So these are the startups which have been incubated at CRTDH at CCMB, BioArtist Life Sciences, Oncosimus Biotech, Theranosys Life Sciences, Virupaksha Life Sciences, Komareddy Biopharma, Altheian Tech Innovations, Safe Bio, Pulse Pharmaceuticals, Sarvottam Care, Immunomodulatory, Neelagile. So a couple of innovations made by these startups. Altheian Tech has developed an IoT-enabled novel pure water unit for type 1 and type 2 water for R&D purposes and hemodialysis purposes. It has installed 4 plants in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana, and served 20,000 patients for their dialysis needs. Safe Bio has designed and developed an automated nucleic acid extraction system integrated with real-time PCR. They also have a couple of success stories. Oncosimus Biotech have received BIRAC big grant and raised 11 crore of funding from BIRAC National Biopharma Mission and HNIs and Angels. Altheian Tech has also received BIRAC big grants and generated a revenue of about rupees 20 lakhs. BioArtist has received a grant of 2 crores from National Fisheries Development Board. Theranosys has also received BIRAC big grant and raised $500,000 from Mumbai Angels in the month of March 2018, and Safe Bio was awarded with BIRAC big grant recently. These startups have also sealed a couple of patents which has been listed here. The next CRTDH which I would be talking about is a CRTDH at IITR Lucknow. Dr. Parth Sarthi is sitting here. He is the principal investigator. Under his leadership, the CRTDH is really doing very well. So this is the kind of support they are providing to the industry under this CRTDH. He'll be making a presentation tomorrow in the afternoon session, which will be a full-fledged presentation about what IITR CRTDH is doing and their achievements. So I'll be just touching upon their achievements. They have installed a pilot-scale bioreactor at Yash Paper Mill. The synthesis process of bioadsorbent gel for environmental application has been developed. Similarly, some other, I'm not going into detail because tomorrow you need to hear him to know more about what they are doing. So these are, again, technological solutions and support which have been developed at DSIR, IITR, CRTDH for industry. They are working in the field of environmental intervention. I think I messed up saying that there are 5 sectors under which we are supporting CRTDHs. They are affordable health, environmental intervention, low-cost machining, materials and chemical processes, and electronics and renewable energy. So IITR is working on environmental interventions, whereas CCMB and IIT Kharagpur are working on affordable health. So this is again a picture of what they have done in the area of effluent treatment sector. They are working on water treatment, pollution treatment, several sectors of environmental interventions. So in a nutshell, what are the major achievements of DSIR, IITR, CRTDH? Under water treatment sector, commercial models of water disinfectant technology have been developed by the institute and is available for non-exclusive licensing. Under effluent treatment sector, pilot scale 2,000-liter bioreactor plant has been deployed at Messrs. Yash Pakka Limited, Ayodhya for pulp and paper mill effluent treatment. The lignin-based bioadsorbent gel has been developed for water treatment from industry waste under this CRTDH, and several other achievements are there at their credit. So I'll be talking about another program, which is patent acquisition and collaborative research and technology development, which again supports industries, MSMEs for R&D, and also encourages them to take up collaborative research with public-funded research institutes. In the morning during the inaugural session, it was again and again being harped that it is very important that the institutes and universities collaborate with MSMEs and work jointly to give more effective results, which I believe is really very important in today's world. We in the government have been talking about a golden triangle, the three vertices of the triangle being government, academia, and industry. If all the three vertices are in place and are working together, I think that would be a win-win situation. So DSI through the PACE scheme provides catalytic support to industries and institutions for development and demonstration of innovative products and process technologies, traversing the journey from proof of concept or laboratory stage to pilot stage so that they can be launched for commercialization. The scheme supports ingenious work and assists in development of new technologies or creative innovative application of the existing technologies to solve unmet needs of industry. The scheme also strengthens the interface between industry, R&D establishments, and academic institutions by supporting collaborative proposals. By the way, IIT Guwahati has been recently awarded a project on CRTDH, and they'll be working on new materials and chemical processes. The first installment has been released recently in March 2022. So they are in the infancy stage, but I'm sure that the kind of intellectual, the kind of faculty and the infrastructure they have, they'll really do very well. So they have just started the project. So why collaborative project? Why are we all talking about collaborative project? Because I believe universities and research labs are gold mine of new ideas. It's only that we need to have an eye for new innovations. If we talk about Google, it was founded by two PhD students at Stanford, Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Nowadays, whenever we want to search anything, we do not say that go and search this. We just say Google. That speaks about the popularity of this particular innovation. So it came from the university system, and that speaks about the strength of the innovation and R&D being done at the university and institutes. Unfortunately, in India, we do not have a mechanism which can make, proper matchmaking mechanism is not there between university, institutes, and industry. So that's a very sorry state of affair. We need to work more on that so that we can also reap the benefits of the R&D being done at institutes and universities. So talking about the CSIR system, they have also developed several important processes and products since they have come into picture. The indelible ink which is put on our finger when we go for voting was developed at CSIR. They have several other very important products and processes to their credit. So what can PACE offer to the industry and the PFRI if they go for a collaborative project? Speaking about the eligibility, the scheme is open for all industries registered in India having a healthy financial track record or a promising financial health forecast, preferably those having DSIR recognized in-house R&D units. The R&D organization, academic institution, university for collaboration with the industry should have the requisite expertise and track record in the proposed area of research. Talking about the funding pattern, 50% of the project cost is provided to the industry as loan, and the loan is a soft loan at the rate of about approximately 3% interest. And the amount which is given for undertaking the project to PFRI is a grants in aid, and they do not have to return anything. This is one example of a PACE. I'll just give, maybe I'll give 2 examples only because I'm told that we are running short of time. So this is one example of one project which has been supported by DSIR under the PACE program, development of controlled release formulation of natural, highly purified human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG. This has been awarded to Messrs. Senzyme Limited, Hyderabad, in collaboration with Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. And this project basically aims to develop natural, highly purified HCG, which is used as a surrogate for luteinizing hormone for triggering ovulation and maintenance of pregnancy. And its role is not only confined to infertility treatment, it is used in diabetes also. The project also aims to improve compliance and reduce the frequency of injections and make the treatment more affordable and available to masses rather than people of a certain class only. I'll just give another example and finish my talk. The next example is a project with the title Development of Genetically Engineered Cellulose-Free Alkaline Xylanase through Submerged Fermentation Process by KP's Biotech Private Limited, Mysore. KP's Biotech Private Limited, Mysore had purchased Bacillus pumilus culture from RRL Trivandrum for producing cellulase-free xylanase at laboratory level. They characterized the kinetics of production of xylanase and developed 2 products, chlorozyme AX for biobleaching of paper and pulp, and recyclase XI for use in biorefinery. These 2 products were evaluated by CPPRI Saharanpur and were found suitable for paper industry use. The company, however, found that yields of the products were inconsistent because of deployment of solid-state fermentation method. So they improvised the method, and they are now furthering into commercialization. So I won't go into the third example because of paucity of time. These are my contact details. If you want, you can contact me. And thank you very much for a patient hearing. Not this. This one?
Okay, thank you, madam. May I now request Mr. Aditya Sinha to quickly present the R&D goals of CDEC. Start. Yeah.
So very good evening to all of you. So dignitaries on the dais. Off the dais, the faculty members, students. I've been told to just do it fast, within 10 to 15 minutes, because I can understand the sustained attention required for such kind of events. I'll try to make it brief. I had a lot of things to say, but I'll just try to keep it very brief. Today we are standing here, and Assam is, most part of the Assam is having a lot of problem, difficulty due to the heavy rains and the floods. Most of the lives have gone. Can you do something for that? Can you have a technological solutions for that? Are you thinking about that? Are we thinking the innovative technologies solution for this particular problem, where we can save so many lives year in year? So we need to have the technology when talk about, we have to have a fundamental need is there. We have to crack those fundamental needs by providing the solutions. We have to think fundamentally, and then we will be able to understand the problem domain, and then we have to create the solution and technology around that. We are living in a very, very opportune time where kind of, technologies are coming up very fast. Accelerations are there. There are the people, the technology is coming in waves. There are the people coming, they are understanding it, learning very fast, and trying to implement those technologies. At the same time, we are living in a world which is a hyper-connected world. The world is a kind of, a small world village where everybody is connected with everybody. We also have kind of, the digital coordinates, or we can call it a coordinates, a world coordinates, which is very, very much important. And if you talk about as a student, the competition is not there with the person sitting with you, next to you. The competition is there with the people who are far from your place. So we are living in this kind of world. We also have, when we talk about the kind of, our previous esteemed experts have already talked about the technologies, how to work on the technologies. Somebody had talked about VUCA world. How we are going to provide the solutions for them? Do we have the perceptual equity towards the problems? Can we look on the bending corners of the wall? These are some of the things that we have to think upon. That's why we are here now today, and I have been given a very, very apt topic, which is called Applications R&D Goals for Interlinking Application, Research and Technology in Advanced Computing. With the permission of the House, I would like to extend it further. I just want to add 3 more points. One is infrastructure, another one is talent, and third one is alignments. Technology you can't develop in isolation. You have to align with some expectations. Fortunately, I belong to the organization, which is Center for Development of Advanced Computers, as it's known as. It's under Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India, which is into development of technologies for the national requirements. Whatever we do everything, right from development of the applications, we do the research, we do the technology development, we also develop the talents, and we align it with the national requirements. So we talk about the CDAC. It is actually at 12 locations, 12 R&D centers are around India. We have one center here in Silchar also, that is 11th center. I belong to a center at Patna, which is the youngest center of CDAC. If you see the right-hand side, you'll see that we're talking about 28 technologies, the thrust areas. And it is categorized in 4 categories, one being the R&D category, another one is the application development category, the third one is the service framework, and the fourth one is the only research framework. So all this categorization is done on all those 28 technologies we are working at CDAC. We also aligned with the national mission. 6 national missions are there. Government of India wanted to work on these 6 national missions. One being the supercomputing, exascale computing mission. Supercomputing is the kind of thing for which we have born in 1988, and 1991 we have delivered the first supercomputer, which is called Param series of supercomputers. So that is the kind of, we started from there, and then we have aligned with other technologies. The next thing which we have taken up is the India Microprocessor Initiative. We are developing the microprocessor along with the IIT Madras. We have a Vega series of microprocessors and a Shakti series of microprocessors. We also moved into the, moving to the classical, moving from classical computer to the quantum computing side. A lot of applications which is going to be developed on the quantum side that we are already working on. AI and language computing is the area in which we are working, that is the mission mode. IoE, Internet of Everything, dependable and secure computing mission is another aspect. As Gen Next applied computing mission, where we have a health, we have education, we have a smart cities, we have agriculture, that is aligned with this next gen applied computing mission. These are some of the areas where the government wanted us to work upon, to have some applications, to do research, to develop technologies, and develop the talent as well. So this is the alignments we have done it with the national mission, whether it's the Digital India, with the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, Startup India, National Supercomputing Mission, Quantum Computing India, India Blockchain. So everywhere we are into that, and we are developing the applications and technologies around that. I'll go very fast because time is very limited. So when you talk about the National Supercomputing Missions, all the major institutions in India, whether it's all the IITs, Institute of Sciences, we have the supercomputers installed with the Param series. Param is parallel machine. So that with that series of supercomputers already been installed, and many places. There are the supercomputers installed at, say, Mohali, then we have Institute of Science Bangalore, which is called Param Pravega. Param Utkarsh is at CTAC Bangalore, then Param Ganga is there at IIT Roorkee. Kharagpur, we have Param Shakti. So a lot of such applications, system has been developed. Infrastructure is not a problem. Whenever you have to a computational infrastructure, across India, we have a huge infrastructure has been created by CDAC in form of HPC. When you talk about IIT Guwahati, we have two systems here. One is called Paramisan, which has been installed in 2017 with 250 teraflop peak performance. Now we are building another solution, which is called Param Kamrupa. That is basically 838 teraflop peak performance is there with 1 petabyte of storage. That is still undergoing on, data center is still getting created. So maybe another 6 months timeline, we will have this Param Kamrupa at CDAC. So that's why I was talking about the infrastructure part. Infrastructure is not a problem. Whenever you want to have a kind of, develop the applications, you have to use a lot of data, you have to use the technologies. Infrastructure is not a problem. There is a Param Siddhi, which is basically a AI-based HPC system, and which is going to be used for the specific cloud computing purpose. This is a part of the Niti Ayog's vision to have a Eravat. Eravat is going to be it's called the Eravat is a machine which we are going to build up for the AI research, analytics, and knowledge assimilations. So this is the kind of the purpose for which this Param Siddhi has been built. We may have multiple machines which will be the part of Eravat. And this is the 62nd position in world ranking in top 500 supercomputing list. And this is the kind of, AI-based clouds, kind of AI cloud will be there. So all the applications is available, or all the infrastructure is available for the nation to do the research, to develop the applications using these facilities. We also have our own indigenous Rudra server for the supercomputers made in India. Then we are going to have a lot of applications, and we are going to develop, one being the genomics, drug discovery, urban modeling, very important for the state like Assam, where the flood early warning and prediction system for river basins in India. Then HP software suites for seismic imaging to aid oil and the gas. These are some of the applications which we see. At the time of this COVID-19, when it started, Remdesivir, you might be remember that that was the kind of drug which we have to repurpose for the COVID medicine. So that entire molecular analysis is done by using the supercomputers at Institute of Science is called Brahma, and we had given the report, and the paper has also been published in the prestigious journal for that. This place is basically, in the morning, Honorable Chief Minister have told about that a lot of possibilities are there in this Ayurveda site and all. So we also have done a lot of molecular modeling on some of the Ayurvedic medicines, Ashwagandha, Chirata, and Pimpli, and that has been used for the purpose for the COVID treatment. There's another national mission what we're working on is basically developing our own microprocessors, and the Vega series of microprocessors we are developing right now. So we already have a series of things are there, and particularly we are going to use it for defense service. Emergency response system is another 112 dial 112 is to integrating all the services of the government. Intelligent transport management system is also been there. So we have a lot of solutions. Language side, we also have done a lot of things. All Indian languages, 26 languages. We have worked on that. We have developed technologies around that languages, and it's available for the people of the country. The interesting part is talking about the Sanskrit. We are developing a Sanskrit encyclopedia dictionary, and this is very interesting that a lot of knowledge which is there in the sculpture of in the Sanskrit language, that we have to find it out, and that's why we are working on that. So another area which is very important, that the way things are moving, the way data is coming, the way computational requirements are coming up, 2 minutes, sir. Coming up, we have to have a quantum computing and communications. This is the kind of move from the classical computing, the things which are not available, not possible in the classical computing, we have to move on the quantum side. Again, India blockchain we are developing for various purposes. We identified the various use cases and working on that. Cybersecurity is one important area on which we are handling is ransomware attacks. Till now, everybody is working on the ransomware detection and the prevention. We are working on the recovery of the ransomware attack and all. So these are some of the e-mobile seva. We have a lot of smartphones, almost 60 million smartphones in India. There should be a lot of huge cases to use those smartphones and all. Health informatics, we are already into number of things, e-Susrut, e-Sanjeevani. E-Asudhi is basically drug supply chain management. So a lot of things are there in this particular healthcare side. But the importance is now is that we are trying to have a human-centered technology for the healthcare system. Healthcare is a very, very complex topic where you have basically the human serves human, okay? And also the kind of healthcare right now is not a healthcare, it's a sick care. So how we can have a technology in place where it is a human-centered technologies and it can help all the stakeholders, whether doctors, whether the patient, whether it's the paramedical, to have those kind of things. And EHR is another area in which we have to develop a lot of things. We also have international presence. We have supporting 45 countries in technology developments. And I talked about talent also. So CIRAC is also having a school, a small school associated with all the R&D centers. And we have trained almost 3 lakhs people till now in last 20-25 years with the kind of PG diploma programs what we are running. Recently, we have launched a fintech and a blockchain development program again. It's all 900 programs. Apart from that, we have for the industry, we are developing a future skills program with NASCOM and the MIT, Ministry of Electronics and IT. So number of technologies have been identified, and CDAC is providing support to them. We also having the free training for the government officials under this program. So a lot of technology development in the education side we have already been identifying. So these are some of the things what we are doing. We have been given a 100 days mandate for the roadmap to develop and we are working towards that. And the one area which is the last topic, which is I would like to cover, is that things are very, very different now. We have the technologies is evolving. You have the humankind is evolving. We have seen the people, your kids, how they have changed their pattern with the help when they have the what you call mobile phone in their hand. So things are very, very different now. We have a flood of data. We have very algorithms. We have computational power is changing. Many things where machines are doing very faster than the human being. So what would be the role in this digital transformation, and how the human is going to operate during that period? So this is the very interesting topic. I'm just trying to follow and trying to find the answers of, are we more intelligent than the evolutionary process that created us? Can the intelligence created another intelligence more intelligent than itself? Will the intelligence that we are creating come to exceed that of the creators? So these are some of the pertinent questions we have to answer when we talk about the technologies for the human. So these are some of the things I wanted to just inform. We also have a CDAC center at Northeast, I already told you. And these are some of the things they are working upon. It is at Silchar. And these are some of the technologies they are working upon. Okay. So that's all from my side. I hope that you might have taken something out of that. So there are some of the areas where almost most of the computational areas we are working upon. As a CDAC, all 12 centers are cooperating with each other. We have collaborations with the universities, with all the IITs we are collaborating, and we are providing the solutions together for the nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mishra, and I'm sorry to rush everyone because we have the cultural program beginning in a very short while. And at this point of time, I would like to thank all the speakers who have come here and shared their opinions today, and all the people who have come and listened to us. With that, without further ado, I would like to conclude this session, and thank you all for attending.